he was in Larry coming. Welcome to this wonderful occasion. This is a very informal part of the occasion. I have no responsibility whatsoever. Just helping us get started. We want to start out with a prayer. The Kareem is going to sing. And then, many of us are fasting at this time of year. The Baha'i New Year is March 21st. The Baha'is fast from March 2nd to March 20th. And then the New Year comes, and when I say March 2nd to March 20th, that's not the total time fasting. It's like before sunup, we eat, and after sunset, we eat, and during the daylight hours, we don't eat or drink. Similar to many fasts for purification, rejuvenation, etc. So this is a time we're just going to break fast. And so Kareem is going to start us out, and then we'll have a couple of prayers. Sunset, I think, is about 6:10, so we can go to that time if we'd like, and then we'll proceed to eat. So, and welcome.
Is there any remover of difficulty? Save God. Save faith and be God. He is God. All are his servants, and all abide by his will. Is there any remover of difficulty? Save God. Save faith and be God. He is God. All are his servants, and all abide by his will. Is there any remover of difficulty? Save God. Save praise and be God. He is God. All are his servants, and all abide by his will.
Blessed is the spot and the house and the place and the city and the heart and the mountain and the refuge and the cave and the valley and the land and the mountain and the refuge and the cave and the valley and the land and the sea and the island and the where mention of God hath been made, and his praise glorified, 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 glorified.
Praise be unto thee, O Lord my God. We have observed the fast in conformity with thy bidding, and break it now through thy love and thy good pleasure. Deign to accept, O my God, the deeds that we have performed in thy path, wholly for the sake of thy beauty, with our faces set towards thy cause, free from aught else but thee. Bestow then thy forgiveness upon us, upon our forefathers, and upon all such as have believed in thee, and in thy mighty signs in this most great, this most glorious revelation. Potent art thou to do what thou choosest. Thou art verily the most exalted, the Almighty, the unconstrained.
Welcome again, everybody. I think we have just a few minutes left, and just a couple thoughts. This part of the program is very spontaneous and informal, and so with Eaton. However, I was thinking, I know that there's members of Margaret's family here that have to leave. And thought if they wanted to say something before they left, that might be a nice opportunity for them. If they're still here, you may be. Would you like to say a few words?
Excuse me. This is tough. That smile guided my life. Made me the father that I am. Guided so many souls to the light. That smile was never ending. That woman faced so much adversity in life. So many trials into the moment where she closed her eyes to meet God with a smile. That isn't powerful, what is? If that isn't trust in your faith, what is? To live a life like hers is a blessing. To emulate even in the minuscule amount of what she had, I would raise a daughter to be like that woman. I would be the son. She not only she battled illness after illness, still made it here every Sunday to see everyone. Which I remember I was around this place. Grandma and Grandpa used to always say, sit in the back and be quiet. So I remember painful and joyful at the same time. And I could go on and on with stories and just, okay, I'll tell you one briefly. My mother became pretty ill before that. My mother had a moment of grief. I guess, I won't say healing, but a moment of deepening within herself that they chose to go to an impoverished community called Beltway down in Florida. And if anyone here has been to Florida, you know it's in 90 degrees, humidity's above sea level. It is terrible. And I was out there as a child watching this woman go door to door. No heat, no mosquitoes, nothing can sway her faith, can sway in her smiles and her joy and speak about how love and how you when I lost my mother, I was lost in life and she did. She brought me here to this box at 17 years. I had already previously declared, but I was not following God. I was not following the teachings. I was not doing what I was supposed to. And she grounded me. I remember calling her nights when I was brand new dad. Like, what do? I remember just the guidance, her voice, her spirit. It just empowered me to do good, to do better, to make that woman proud. The funny jokes, the no matter what, her and Richard always chippering at each other with little things, just the littlest things. And me actually getting a chance to be raised by her when I was younger, at a different time my mom was ill. I'll tell you a story. I just moved to a different community. I was struggling with it, as young kids do, and was playing tag with a bunch of boys and wasn't paying attention, going full speed, ran into an oak tree. It just so happened I scraped my entire half of my face. It was pretty bad for a kid. Grandpa, he cracked jokes. He had jokes. So I remember going, Richard, you keep it up. And just the comfort that she gave me in those times, like there's nothing that can replace that. There's such a void right now. I mean, I barely can stay in here for 5 minutes and just look. It's so much she's accomplished. So much with my family, through the highs, through her travels. That woman's been so many places I can't even name them. And to be so vigorous about what she believed in, just to take that moment and just to admire that. If half the people in this world could afford that effort, then we have better place. And I don't even think I had the guts to say anything about all you people was her. Like, she embedded a certain aspect of love and forgiveness in me that I have been unneared. I don't look at strangers as threats. I don't look at strangers. I look at opportunities. Opportunities to make an impact in their life, whether it's money or knowledge. And I owe that to her. Her spirit will forever be with us. I can feel her spirit in and now with us. Well, I'm not. Just wanted to share those couple of stories. And wow, I know it's bittersweet because
She's laughing while I'm down in the ground. Like, boy, you have no idea. You have no idea. I can just imagine them dancing and just embracing what they lived their life for. Grandpa finally got his goat island. And that in itself is amazing. I mean, it's just in the era that we live in, like look at how diverse we are. The era that they chose to be Baha'is in the time period and the struggles they overcame, not only being Baha'is, but an interracial couple is amazing. Amazing. Nothing broke their spirit at all. They've driven to Canada. They've driven to Florida. We made an entire cross-country trip to put my mother to rest. They've been around, and along the way, so many Baha'is that they touched. There's a Baha'i in Florida named Liz, who's a dear friend of my mother's, and they actually had service support because she impacted the Palm Beach community that much. If only a few certain people who are still left to remember that. It's just amazing the power one person can have. And to take just a snippet from that. That's all I ask. That's it. You see that person. And I shouldn't say much here. I mean, obviously, but I'm done. I've got a long drive. I appreciate everyone's condolences, everyone's hugs, embraces, memories. I wish I could stay longer, and I appreciate everyone for being there for my grandma, especially the room. That man stepped up to the plate amazingly. My aunt Lee stepped up to the plate amazingly to make Barbara's transfer the most comfortable experience she could have. And I was lucky to even see the end of that. And some of the few Baha'is that were there, seeing the smile on her face. She loved her family. She gave her soul to her family. That's something I embrace. And try. I got a daughter that became impossible at that time. But yeah, I mean, gosh, I could tell so many stories that just flooded me. Okay, I remember one time I was in school. Babysitter wasn't available, so grandma had to take me to work. And that was the first time I got to witness my grandmother care for individuals. She had no qualms with dealing with individuals that weren't in the right mindset, who were even sometimes verbally aggressive, and just her patience, her finesse with how she flirted and built up a rapport with these individuals. I could brag about my grandma all day, that's terrible. But I mean, I remember my first time in DC as a child. I met the Hollowers with my grandparents, and that memory stays with me to this day. These were like core memories I got from my grandmother. And you guys. Okay, when my grandfather was supposed to rest, I don't know who was there and wasn't, so I'll try to make it brief. Like I said, I don't want to take up so much time. Train of life, we all ride aboard our boat. And on that train of life, passengers will come, and the passengers will go. Some passengers are on that entire trip till the end of the ride. Some passengers will get off. But what matters is how those passengers are impacted. That's what I said to my grandfathers, with my grandmother in particular. She was a conductor. She directed many paths. She may have only been a conductor for a brief moment. In my case, very long. But after we give you all the skills and training that you need, you're still gonna be afraid. You're still gonna be wondering, where is my train headed? Because my leading is gone. That's when you have to find a new conductor. That not to replace, but to build what I can left. In my case, it's my children. Everything I strive to do, I do for my children. Do I perfect father? Yeah. Well, oh, I'm so sorry. For those of you who don't know, I am her grandson, son of Minette, who is also a Baha'i. I declared when I was 14 in West Palm Beach. That's a brief rundown of who I am. I have 6 children, 2 biologically, 4 adopted. Yeah, I run a business in Ohio and also work. My fiance is Caitlin Jackson. We've been together for almost a decade, it seems, or since I've passed. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I think.
So with maybe somebody who's on the, not ready to stand, I think. Yeah. So I was just gonna say to the program, ask the program people to kind of share what's coming next, so everybody knows the order, so one in Shireen, Arun, whoever planned, somebody, whoever planned the program, so everybody knows what's coming. Somebody share what's coming.
So welcome everyone. We have water and drinks just back here. So those who have, do you have something to say, Dennis? Her voice is ringing in melodious tones as we break the fast together. So again, then we have the drinks on the table back in this hallway, and then we're gonna form 2 lines, and there's both sides of the table. You're welcome to grab dinner, so please join us. Please join us. The family would like to start. So. For those on Zoom, we are breaking for dinner, and we will restart the program at 7:30. Is that correct? 7:15. Sorry, Shireen said 7:15. So for those on Zoom, please join us at 7:15 to resume the memorial program.
We're here to pour libations in honor of our sister, our mother, our elder, our mama, Barbara Town. No, Barbara Bond. Not a Barbara. Madasi. I'm going to ask that each of you please call out the name of your ancestors that you want to remember during this occasion. And the last name that will be called is our beloved Barbara Bond. Ashe? Ashe. 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 Rita Coley. Ashe. 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 Louis Gregory. Ashe. 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 Petition to Shereen Grace Juice. Ashe. 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 For all the unnamed mothers, fathers, and babies that we've lost. Ashe. Ashe. And in the name of the person who we gathered here to honor this evening, Mama Barbara Eaton. Ashe. Madasi.
Welcome, dear friends, to the memorial for our dear Miss Barbara Bond. We're going to have a diverse selection of music, drums, and a video montage, poetry, prayers, and quotations from the world's spiritual scriptures. We only hope that it's befitting of Barbara. As Aaron said so beautifully this morning of his grandmother at the funeral, all of you being here is an example of her spirit that she gave to the world. The way she touched all of our hearts with her kindness, infectious laughter, sense of humor, and deep faith in the Halawa that kept her going, even in the most difficult of times, that she had to endure in this life. We hope to learn from her the qualities that she perfected within this earthly realm. She was a spiritual giant who was teaching the faith all the way to the end of her physical life. Although we are sad for her not to be amongst us physically, we are so happy that her soul progressed on its continuous journey towards God, where she will be reunited, gone before her.
Abdu'l-Baha says, at first it is very difficult to welcome death, but after attaining its new condition, the soul is grateful, for it has been released from the bondage of the limited to enjoy the liberties of the unlimited. It has been freed from a world of sorrow, grief, and trials to live, in a world of unending bliss and joy. The phenomenal and physical have been abandoned in order that it may attain the opportunities of the ideal and spiritual. Therefore, the souls of those who have passed away from earth have hastened to a world superior to this. They have soared away from these conditions of darkness and dim vision into the realm of light. These are the only considerations which it can comfort and console those whom they have left behind.
An illumined soul continues to have an influence on progress in this world and the advancement of its people. Baha'u'llah says it acts as the leaven that leaveth the world of being and furnishes the power through which the arts of wonders of the world are made manifest.
We are grateful that Barbara will continue to share her light with us. She will forever hold a special place in all of our hearts. We will now have a drum circle.
People, everyone. We're gonna start with a whole response song that Brother Dan Gilmer shared with us, and we sort of first sang it at our Pocahontas Hopes sort of memorial service a few years ago. So I dusted it off, and we've had a little bit of practicing amongst ourselves, and but you all will assist us if we get unsteady. Going back to the Father when I die. I'm going back to the Father when I die. Going back to the Father when I die. Back to the Father when I die. I'm gonna thank Him for my journey when I die. I'm gonna thank Him for my journey when I die. I'm gonna thank Him for my journey when I die. Thank Him for my journey back to the Father when I die. I'm gonna live in a mansion when I die. I'm gonna live in a mansion when I die. I'm gonna live in a mansion when I die. Live in a mansion. Thank Him for my journey back to the Father when I die. I'm gonna feast on milk and honey when I die. I'm gonna feast on milk and honey when I die. I'm gonna feast on milk and honey when I die. Feast on milk and honey, live in a mansion. Thank Him for my journey back to the Father when I die. I'm gonna shout troubles over when I die. I'm gonna shout troubles over when I die. I'm gonna shout troubles over when I die. Shout troubles over. Feast on milk and honey. Live in a mansion. Thank Him for my journey back to the Father when I die. I'm gonna join the heavenly choir when I die. I'm gonna join the heavenly choir when I die. I'm gonna join the heavenly choir when I die. Join the heavenly choir, shout troubles over, live milk and honey, live in a mansion. Thank Him for my journey back to the Father when I die. I'm gonna rest from my labor when I die. I'm gonna rest from my labor when I die. I'm gonna rest from my labor when I die. I'm gonna rest from my labor. Join the heavenly choir, shout troubles over, feast on milk and honey, live in a mansion. Father when I die. I'm gonna give my God the glory when I die. I'm gonna give my God the glory when I die. I'm gonna give God the glory when I die. Give God the glory, rest from my labor, join the heavenly choir, shout my troubles over, feast on milk and honey, live in a mansion, thank Him for my journey, back to the Father when I die. I'm going back to the Father when I die. I'm going back to the Father when I die. I'm going back to the Father when I die. Back to the Father, give God the glory, rest from my labor, join the heavenly choir, shout my troubles over, feast on milk and honey, live in a mansion, thank Him for my journey, back to the Father when I die.
Thank you for raising our spirits and energy. Next, we'll share one of Barbara's favorite songs, You Know My Name by the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Psalm 23. We shall overcome. We are not afraid. We are not alone. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
O Lord, may all of mankind be safe. Let no one experience pain or suffering. Hindu mantra.
Exalted, compassionate God, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure who shine with the splendor of the firmament to the soul of our dear one who has gone to her eternal home. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. The Lord is her portion. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen.
To God we belong, and to him we shall return. O God, help me in my calamity and replace it with good. O God, ease upon him his matters and make light for him whatever comes hereafter. And honor him with your meeting and make that which he has gone to better than that which he came out from. From the earth did we create you, and into it shall we return you, and from it shall we bring you out once again.
Rely upon God, trust in him, praise him and call him continually to mind. He verily turneth trouble into ease, sorrow into solace, and toil into utter peace. He verily hath dominion over all things. He verily hath dominion over all things. Rely upon God, trust in him, praise him and call him continually to mind. He verily turneth trouble into ease, sorrow into solace, and toil into utter peace. He verily hath dominion over all things. He verily hath dominion over all things.
I give you this one thought to keep. I am with you still. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not think of me as gone. I am with you still in each new dawn. Navajo prayer.
Grandfather, Great Spirit, all over the world, the faces of living ones are alike. With tenderness, they have come up out of the ground. Look upon your children, that they may face the winds and walk the good road to the day of quiet. Grandfather, Great Spirit, fill us with the light. Give us the strength to understand and the eyes to see. Teach us to walk the soft earth as relatives to all that live. Lakota prayer.
Purpose of God as creating man hath been and will ever be to enable him to know his creator and to obtain his presence. To this most excellent aim, the supreme objective, our heavenly books and the divine revealed and weighty scriptures unequivocally bear witness. Baha'u'llah.
To consider that after the death of the body, the spirit perishes. Abdu'l-Baha said that is like is like imagining that a bird in a cage will be destroyed if the cage is broken. Though the bird has nothing to fear from the destruction of the cage, our body is like the cage, and the spirit is like the bird. If the cage becomes broken, the bird will continue and exist. Its feelings will be even more powerful, its perceptions greater, and its happiness increase. Abdu'l-Baha.
And now concerning thy question regarding the soul of man and its survival after death. Know thou of a truth that the soul, after separation from the body, will continue to progress until it attaineth the presence of God, in a state and condition which neither the revolution of ages and centuries, nor the changes and chances of this world can alter. It will endure as long as the kingdom of God, his sovereignty, his dominion and power will endure. It will make manifest the signs of God and his attributes, and reveal his loving kindness and bounty. The movement of my pen is stilled when it attempteth to befittingly describe the loftiness and glory of so exalted a station. The honor with which the hand of mercy will invest the soul is such as no tongue can adequately reveal, nor any other earthly agency describe. Blessed is the soul which, at the hour of its separation from the body, is sanctified from the vain imaginings of the people of the world.
O thou provider, O thou forgiver, a noble soul hath ascended into the kingdom of reality and hastened from the mortal world of dust to the realm of everlasting glory. Exalt the station of this recently arrived guest and attire this long-standing servant with a new and wondrous robe. O thou peerless Lord, grant thy forgiveness and tender care, so that this soul may be admitted into the retreats of thy mysteries and may become an intimate companion in the assemblage of splendors. Thou art the giver, the bestower, the ever-loving. Thou art the pardoner, the tender, the most powerful. Abdu'l-Baha.
It's simply called Seedling Remembrance. In the seed, a universe is with us, whole, where watchers find the tree, the blossom, or leaf. The seed with sun, soil, and dew, divinity of hyacinth and rose, remembrance is complete. And we shall be as leaves upon the tree, whose roots are to earth deeply married, whose branches in all kinds of weather free reach toward sky. And when the falling time comes, we shall not weep for things unbound. Winds more tender than the breezes of love's boasting have freed us. Mastered by love, we become another season's flaming colors and move on to long-lasting fields covered in myrtle and favored by the gods.
So uplifting. Thank you. We'll now play a video montage so kindly put together by Carmel Bahadur.
So sweet. Thank you. Now we have some time to share memories and testimonials of Barbara. We'll start with some blessings by Nancy and Raj.
Many people think that sorry, getting so used to it, I feel naked without it. Many people think that we are physical beings with a spirit. but actually we are spirits having a physical experience here. And those of us who are wise, like Barbara, she realized that and she worked on fortifying and growing her spirit. And Abdu'l-Baha says that a bird who has grown its wings, it cannot stay on the ground anymore. It has to fly heavenward and go towards heaven. And this is the way I view Barbara. She was so beautiful, so radiant, right up to the very end. And her wings were grown, and there was no way she could stay here. She was ready to move on to a fuller life where, as Abdu'l-Baha said, her powers will be multiplied, and she will be able to influence us and inspire us as we try to emulate her journey. And I just wanted to say to her family and her friends that we always beseech the divine blessings on you. And we are sure that the beautiful fragrances of the divine will be wafted through the windows of your soul. And God bless you all. And hopefully you will be happy for her as she journeys through the next world, and pray for her because she's surely praying for us. And her progress depends on our prayers, and our progress will depend a lot on her prayers. So we need to support each other. Thank you.
I've known Barbara, having met her on many occasions on the Sunday classes at Arun's house. I'm Arun's father. We know her to be an extraordinarily kind, well-meaning person. And all the best every time to everyone she met. So we have discussed philosophy, life with her on many occasions. So I'm going to read a short prayer from ancient Hindu scriptures, and I will say it in Sanskrit and then say it in English. Asato ma sadgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. It means, lead me, God, from untruth to truth. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. So even though she has left us in the physical form, she's with us in spirit. Even as we are thinking about her, she's out there conferring her blessings on all of us, and I join. May our wishes and blessings. Thank you.
Now we welcome anyone to share stories for as long as we have time. We'll first invite Barbara's family to share, followed by Lex, then Arun, and then the floor is open to anyone.
Brought some notes because I wanted to talk in sequence. I lost some of them, but I remember what I wanted to talk about. So first, I just wanted to share something that you all might not know, that my mom, because I was asking her some questions because I wanted to get some information on her, and I thought she was valedictorian of her class. She said, no, I was salute salutatorian of my class. And the reason, and when I was at home with my mom, I spent a lot of time with my mom. Sometimes I might say my English, maybe something that was incorrect. Like I might say, I don't want nothing. And she said, no, that's a double negative. You don't want anything. I said, Mom, I knew that it was just a mistake. She said, well, why did you say it? Or I might say, Ma, I'm going to the store. You want some salmon? She said, it's not salmon, Monique, it's salmon. So my mom was always correcting me on my English. I want to share some stories when we were growing up and kind of go from the past to the present. And I'll start with my Uncle Jimmy. That was her brother. My Uncle Jimmy once told me a story. He said, when they were young, maybe teenagers, a woman fell to the ground. They were together, they were outside. And he said, Barbara, and I might say Mom a lot because that's what I call her. I don't call her. But he said she fell to the ground and she immediately rushed over to the woman. She started telling people to stay back. She was very young at that age. She told someone to call 911. People were getting close. She said, stay back, stay back, stay back. He said that he was never more proud of my mom. He said, I was so proud. She was so compassionate. She handled that situation so well. And I chose that story just to say that my mom always, this was like a gift to her. You know, her special gift, sensitivity, compassion, caring for people just from the start. And so, and then there was, the next is like a story of my grandfather, Grandpapa Eaton. My Grandpapa Eaton used to always, we were Christians before my mother became a Baha'i and before even I became a Baha'i. You know, growing up, the first part of my life, we were Christians, but so every Easter he would come from North Carolina. He would bring Easter baskets with jelly beans, grass, chocolate bunnies, dye for eggs. I just loved my grandfather. And then one day, you know, my grandfather died and I was very, very sad. And my mom said, just always pray for your grandfather, okay? Because it'll help his spirit. And she said, just pray for him. That way you can always stay connected to your grandfather. And that was the very first person that I started praying for. And she taught me to pray for those that have passed. At that young age, I was, well, whatever age I was, that was the first person that I started praying for. And I've been praying for many people since then. I pray for relatives, I pray for friends that have passed, even a long time ago. I used to just list them. As I get older, the list is getting a little longer, but she taught me that. My mom also, like she raised 4 children, basically, you know, by herself. My natural father and her divorced when I was pretty young. So I remember, you know, my father visiting and spending time with him, and for a short time, even living with him very shortly, but I don't remember them being together. So she raised a family of 4, basically all by herself. She was a good mother. I remember one day, a salesman came to the house and he was selling like books. And she ended up buying a huge volume. It was childcraft books. She bought encyclopedias. She bought like a dictionary this thick, Webster. That was way before like cell phones. And I remember that I just loved, absolutely loved the fairy tales. One of the volumes was like fairy tales. I read all the fairy tales. And wow, I said, this is great. You know, I couldn't wait to read the next fairy tale. And then I started reading more books. Eventually, I started going to the library. It prompted me to read even more books. I went to the library. I read a lot of classical books like Charlotte's Web. I read all Dr. Seuss, My Secret Garden, Alice in Wonderland. I just got into a reading frenzy. It started from my mom, Karen, and you know, it helped me later in life because I'm a very good reader. You know, I'm articulate in my English as far as writing and all that. And I just wanted to give Mom credit for that. It's also a little story that I want to share along with that. When I was little, I was very afraid of lightning and thunder. It's going to tie in a minute. But I used to actually run under the dining room table and curl up in a little ball. And my siblings would just laugh, say, ha ha, look at Dolly again running. That was my nickname. Up under the table. And finally, my mother said, Monique, I want you to go get an encyclopedia and look up lightning. And I want you to do a report, a whole page, a whole page. And I said, really, Ma? She said, you must do it. And so I took time, I did a whole page on lightning, and the report, honestly, I was still afraid that the lightning was going to come in the window and get me. But just by doing this, I had to take a look at myself. I said, wow, if Mom is going through all that to make me write book reports, my siblings are teasing me, I'm gonna have to change my ways. So I never ran up under the table. Yeah. I wanted to, when we were coming up, we have family traditions. Two families, the Wilkes, we always went over there, and Donna, if you are watching, I haven't forgot you. We went over the Wilkes house all the time for Thanksgiving, every single year. And they're a beloved family when I was growing up. And the daughter, Donna, she's watching now. And we would just have a wonderful time with her mother, her father, and her brother, Hollis, Bobby, and Aunt Grace. We called her Aunt Grace. We also had another family. Sometimes my mom would, with Aunt Lorraine, this was another family, we would go over there and they would buy a bunch of live crabs. It was like a crab party. And and they would put the live crabs into a big boiling pot. I didn't like that because I saw it and the crabs were making noises and trying to get out the pot and all that. And the adults would maybe drink, you know, a little beer, not the kids. Yeah, they would drink beer and crabs. The kids didn't, but I enjoy eating the crabs later. They really tasted good. Okay. Another thing, we went out to all-you-can-eat restaurants a lot. Okay. And this was a little bit later in life after all of us was grown. When I was coming up, my mom made sure we always had a spiritual education, even when she was a Christian. If she didn't go with us, the church that we were going to, they had a van, and the van would come right at the bus stop. She would dress us up in little dresses, comb our hair. James would have a little suit on. and the van would pick us up, take us to the Christian church and bring us right back. Right back. It was chaperoned with adults, but she always made sure that we knew the Lord, always. And then on Easter, if that was extra special, she would buy us beautiful. I remember the little crinoline that went under the little girls' dresses that made it kind of go out like that. She would buy us that little anklet socks, patent leather shoes. She, you know, and we looked cute. and we went to church, and that was very nice. I might have caught up now. So this is a little story, another little story. It's called Yogurt and Beer Story, okay? When I was coming up, my mom would buy something that was just for her. She loved yogurt, right? It might be Lucerne yogurt in different flavors. So that was just for her. Every now and then I would sneak one. I said, all of these yogurts, I want one. And I end up eating it, and she never said anything. Okay, so my mom, once in a blue moon, she liked live crabs at that time, and she would dig the crab open. I mean, not the crab, the clam with a little, chuck it down, and maybe, you know, drink a beer behind it. This is way back. One day I said, Mom, that's beer. What does that taste like? And my mom just looked at me and she said, garbage juice. And I said, ugh, garbage juice. With a dead straight face, she said, garbage juice. And I was thinking, well, why on earth are you drinking it? Yes, but I never saw my mom drink another beer after that, ever in my life, ever, from that. And that's why I wanted to bring that up. My mother also used to smoke cigarettes, not just lightly, but heavy, okay? And later she decided that she had to give that up too, for many reasons. It was a vice, it was unhealthy. She wanted to cleanse herself spiritually, you know, toxins here, spiritually, physical, everything. And that was the hardest thing. The beer wasn't that much of a problem because it was just a little social thing when she ate her seafood. But the cigarettes really were, and she struggled with that. I remember we used to try when she came home from work, because she would be a little irritable sometimes, or snap. Not all the time, but you know, she was going through withdrawal. And we tried to clean up the house. You know, if she said, cook this, we tried to cook it. She had us cooking. As soon as we were able to get over the stove safely, she started training us how to cook. And so we really did try to help her with that. Eventually, she absolutely stopped. She stopped. It might have been a struggle, and she might have slipped, but she did it. She really did, and she stopped. Okay. Now, the next note, Mom becomes a Baha'i. So when I think I was pre-teen. So Mom became a Baha'i, and she took me and James. I remember us going to the children's program here at the Baha'i Center downstairs with Hillary and Jennifer. They were so little too. Oh, I remember exactly what they looked like at that age. Yes, I do. I have a good memory. We were all in there together, you know, with some other kids. Mom also told me that even though she was naturally a very good communicator. She has always been an excellent communicator. She said it was when she started teaching that she really got comfortable like talking to strangers, because from my understanding, they were talking to strangers. They were not talking to people that they might have talked to people they knew too, but the real teaching, you know, got fine-tuned from talking to people on the street. I think they were going from door to door. She said she was working with Anita Chapman. Anita Chapman was her mentor at that time. My Aunt Sadie was the one that introduced my mom. My Aunt Sadie was a Baha'i first, and she introduced my mom to the Baha'i faith. And once she became a Baha'i, she went out teaching. And she started really blossoming. Once my mother became a Baha'i, she blossomed even more. My mother worked on the National Spiritual Assembly. I mean, not national, the local, excuse me, the local Spiritual Assembly. And I remember very vividly, she would come home from work, and my mother sometimes was very tired. Very tired. But she still, for many, many years, it didn't matter how tired my mom was. She devotedly gave her time to the National Spiritual Assembly. She told me it's an honor. It is an honor to be on to be on the local Spiritual Assembly because people elected me, okay? And so I have to, do my best in this position. And it was only until first my sister Manette died, her daughter, and she was in grief. And then right behind that, her own mother died. And at that time was a very emotional time for my mother. And she said she was in grief. And so she gave that up. But I also wanted to say, my mother sung in the choir. I know many of you remember that. Some of you might have sung with her, or you know about that, or you had tapes of my mother. Her and Richard, they really enjoyed the choir, and they always lit up. They traveled sometimes. I know they went to Wilmette, and they traveled and to the international faith. What is it? The international. I went with her where different religions come together. No, they did. Yeah. And they just sung at many places. My mom also, as a senior later, not too long ago, really, maybe a year or a year and a half ago, she was teaching the children. I think you saw a picture of that at Berry Farms. Berry Farms was like a notorious kind of place where at that time it was a lot of drug dealing going on. The children, they had special problems. And they went, but I don't know the names of all the people. You all would know, but I'm just talking about my mom, and she helped with that. And let's see, where are we at? So the reason why I told you the stories is that a lot of people, my mom, I do consider her an angel that walks the earth. I know it's a lot of other angels, even in this room, a lot of angels. I mean, we're here to serve, but my point of sharing some of these stories is my mom had to struggle, through different things in her life, just like everybody else, to perfect herself. She had periods where things were hard. She sacrificed a lot for us when we were coming up because honestly, she was taking care of us for the most part. I mean, my father might have helped in another way, but she was the one that was really just supporting all of us. She really was. And she would come home from work, she was tired, she still stayed steadfast, she still stayed committed. Whatever was in her heart and just that she wanted to do, she just went ahead and did it. She had things that she had to overcome, vices or whatever, you know, to perfect herself. And she did. So, and I just wanted to tell y'all a story about even when she was in the hospital, in the rehab. This is recent. My mom made friends with everybody. She made friends with the nurse techs, the nurse, the assistants that would come, you know, to change her or to serve the meals. Some of them said, my baby. They would give her special attention. My mother was giving literature out to one in Baha'i material. And the aide said, I thought you were going to give me another one. She said, oh, I got it. It's right here in my purse. Because she told me to go home and pick something up, you know, for her. But each place she went, she was still just making friends with people. One of the housekeepers, you know, the people that clean up the rooms, she was speaking Spanish because she honeymooned in Mexico. She picked up some Spanish. She was speaking Spanish. She was delighted, the aide. Then they were talking a little in Spanish. They became just like this. My mother made friends with everybody, you know. That was just her spirit. She's a beautiful person. I just want to close by thanking, just talking about, so my mom was, I found out that she had pancreatic cancer in the spring, okay? And I was working a lot. I was working 2 agencies. From that point, gradually, the visiting angels, I work with a company, Visiting Angels, and I told my mom first, you know, that I wasn't going to take any more cases once, but then I just started scaling back from that particular agency first, so I would have more time for my mother. But in the meantime, because I was working, Baha'i stepped in. They stepped up. The days when I was at work, they took her to doctor's appointments. It's so many people that helped right now, and I don't want to start trying to say names because I might forget all of the people, but you know who you are. They took, I mean, I might mention a few. They took her to doctor's appointments. The emergency room, Arun and Jennifer spent time in emergency rooms with my mom. One time my mom fell at the house while I was working. Arun came and he had the keys to the house and he called the ambulance. People just constantly came. Eventually, I didn't have any more cases with the Visiting Angels. I still had my other job. But I took family medical leave. Okay, that's where they pay you for your sick leave. I have a lot of sick leave because I work and I almost never get sick. So that's what I'm on right now. So I'm totally not working. And so my mom was in rehabs. People, the visitors came. They were always coming wherever my mom was, her friends. her friends, and it would lift mom's spirit. She loved that. She loved talking. My mom is so social. She just loves it when people come. She really did. It lifted her spirits. They came to the hospitals, you know, they calling. But before she even went to rehab, visitors were still coming. Let's back up a little bit because they did a lot even before she went to the rehab. Some people were bringing food. Many of them brought food. They brought little refreshments, drinks, milk. My mother loved orange juice. They were bringing fresh, they were just bringing all kind of food. We really appreciated that. My mom was having trouble with her computer and they were fixing it. Some people were coming to work on her computer. Others donated, brought their truck. We were giving stuff to Goodwill, trying to get some things away. Her husband that was still there, they came with the truck and loaded it up, took it away. Her neighbors too, two of her neighbors were helping bring food, take her sometimes on doctor's appointments. The Northeast Boundary Group also came several times, and my mom was funny about letting people in the house because of COVID. She didn't want people to come in the house at that time. So they came on the porch. They came right on the porch and she would stand behind the screen and they were there and they would say prayers and conversate through the screen door. They did this many times. You know, people were just doing whatever they could. Arun's family, Geeta and Arun, made sure they took her to nice restaurants here and there, which I appreciate. My mom loved it. One time I was at the hospital when she was getting ready to come home. I said, Mom, so what do you want me to get you? Because a lot of things you can't eat, or you saying you want something else. She said, I want lobster and crab. I said, oh my, you're I don't know if I could do that now. Arun spoiled you. That was funny though. She just smiled. She was just kidding, really. But it was funny. Arun and his family also invited her over for Christmas dinner. I think Thanksgiving to one of those. No, maybe both. I'm really not sure, but they made sure that she had an outing. The last thing I just want to mention is Arun himself. Arun has been a right hand to my mom and me the whole entire process. Arun, this man has done everything. Full circle, a little bit of this, that, you know, taking her to the doctor. Me and him compare notes, okay, through text updates, so that her care is the best it can be. Who's, you know, we compare notes, if not every day, almost every other day by text messages, just talking about whatever is going on, just whatever, with her medical or anything. He has bought food. I mean, I just, you know, I honestly, I can't say enough. He's been there for everything. He was wonderful. And so, but my point is, everybody, the whole community together, including him and me, I called us the A-team. I told my mom that. One time we came in together, she said, here comes my A-team. But really, it was just the whole entire community that made my life easier. It was crucial when I was still working and they were stepping up and taking her to doctor's visits when I couldn't, especially that. And I just love you all and thank you all. Thank you so much.
Hello, friends. Hello, friends.
Hello.
I'll share a very few comments and memories building off what Sister Monique has said. On the collage there on the left, you'll see a rather regal gentleman, top left corner. That is Barbara's paternal great-grandfather, John Fawcett Flossie Kemper, born in June of 1858 in Virginia. He was enslaved as a child by Hugh Kemper and the Kemper family. You may know of the Kemper Open, that's the family. He was the child house slave of that home. Hugh Kemper was forced to release him in around 1865. Later, that gentleman married Ella Smoot. Those are some of Barbara's descendants. Ancestors, thank you. Ancestors. When she found John Fawcett Flossie Kemper's picture, she was very proud. Barbara loved to research anything. You may not know this about Barbara. When Barbara would get an idea in her head, she could not rest until that idea was finished. It could be the Hubble Space Telescope, at which point it would be 4 a.m. and Barbara would still be on the researching, or the James Webb Telescope, right? The James Webb pictures, researching the pictures. She loved the galaxy and the universe. She loved constellations and stars. She said it gave her a sense of place and time. It also gave her a profound sense of the grandeur and majesty of God's creation. She said she always saw God when she looked at the stars. Next to John Fawcett Flossie Kemper were Barbara's parents, Barbara's parents. That's Robert James Washington Jr. and Elsie Regina Dorsey. Barbara was born Barbara Jean Washington, and those are her two parents there next to that top left-hand corner picture. Barbara was very proud of her family and her family lineage. We have blood family, and then we have families of birth, and we have families of choice. Many people wondered what my relationship was with Barbara. It didn't make sense to them. It made no sense to them. We had an age difference. We had a cultural difference, socioeconomic difference, a racial difference. She was raised Catholic and I was raised Hindu. She still had a very deep and abiding love for Christ in her heart till the day she died. She never left her Christian faith. She just felt that her faith was now expanded. I never left my Hindu faith. I too felt as though my faith had just been expanded. And what we found common purpose in was in our understanding of who Baha'u'llah was in our lives. And it made us best friends. We loved each other in a way that is born of God and lives in the Spirit. Just to let you know how that love manifested itself, she would call me at 2 or 3 in the morning because she had an idea. Gita was not impressed. Her most recent 3 o'clock in the morning call occurred a week and a half ago. And she said, Arun. I go, yes, Barbara. She says, Mom, Elsie Regina Dorsey, is standing at the foot of my bed. I said, how does that make you feel? She said, good. I said, go with it. What is she saying? She said, she's saying, baby, baby, I'm holding your hand. Please come home. The night before she passed, I was with Mrs. Davenport, the home health aide in her home. And Miss Davenport, heard me talking to Barbara. She heard my voice and she said, you're the guy she keeps talking to at 3 a.m. I said, yeah, that's me. She goes, were you there when she was talking about her mom? I said, yeah. She said, I was here too. I was holding her hand. That's what Ms. Davenport said. Miss Davenport did not see Elsie Regina Dorsey. But she did hear the entire conversation from Barbara's side. She didn't hear what I was saying. We would always read together. We were reading Thief in the Night. We were reading The Seven Valleys. And we would always share quotes with each other that were inspirational. And the quote that spoke to both of us more recently, we both felt was one of the most important quotes that we could find in our lives. And it was from Baha'u'llah, and it said, rejoice in the gladness of thine heart, that thou mayest be worthy to mirror forth my beauty. And we thought, what does this mean to us? And it means find your joy. Whatever your joy is, find it. And when you find your joy, then you will be worthy to mirror forth God's love in your heart. Now, each of us has a challenge to find our joy. And that quest of finding what it is that brings us happiness, what it is that where we can find our blessings and our talents, is not a hedonistic quest. It is a God-mandated obligation. Rejoice in the gladness of thine own heart, that thou mayest be worthy to mirror forth my beauty. Barbara loved reading and investigating, and she had a mission. 3 nights before she passed, my dear sister Monica was with me, with her son and my daughter and my wife. And Barbara was on a mission to educate. And she brought Richard Hamilton and Somya, and she gave them a 15 to 20-minute discourse on the different types of education in our lives. Physical education, intellectual education, moral education, but most importantly, spiritual education. And she said, that is the only education that really counts. It's the most important of all of the educations. And she said, this is what you are now learning in children's class. You are getting spiritual education. She was always on a mission. And Monica was sharing with me that she always found Barbara had a purpose, and she still had a mission. Well, I just wanted to share, like in closing, say it's been an honor to be a part of this family. It has been an honor to have Barbara as my friend. And words cannot express what it means when you love someone so dearly that service seems effortless. We would talk on the phone for hours. We could spend time just doing everything together. Monica's husband, Richard over here, was the director at Berry Farms. And as fate would have it, their son was in a soccer team with my son. And they one day came to our children's class. We knew each other because their neighbor was already a part of our children's class. And we had known each other for almost a decade, probably before then, because of birthday parties when the kids were 2 years old. So this was our second time meeting, actually. And so they came to our children's class. And Richard said, what we do here in this children's class, the girls at Berry Farms need. So there were some 125 girls that were there, and I would go and Barbara would come with me and we would educate, we would teach these girls whatever little we could. And it was the thing that brought Barbara the greatest joy, being with younger people and educating them. For years, every Friday, because of Richard over here, Monica's husband, we had the opportunity to host beautiful children's classes and junior youth groups. Neodoy, Crystal, Jennifer, Barbara, many of the friends here would go religiously every Friday to educate 100 girls from the ages of 2 to 15. It was the thing that brought Barbara the most joy, talking to young people and sharing with them her thoughts, her feelings. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you for letting me be here. And I'll let others share.
Thank you, Monique and Dad, for sharing your stories. Barbara's spirit is going to keep living amongst us, and her memories of the beautiful qualities she possessed will always be lessons for us. Stories of her will always be shared and remembered. We will now end with a closing prayer.
O thou kind Lord, this dearly cherished maidservant was attracted to thee, and through reflection and discernment longed to attain thy presence and enter thy realms. With tearful eyes, she fixed her gaze on the kingdom of mysteries. Many a night she spent in deep communion with thee, and many a day she lived in intimate remembrance of thee. At every morn she was mindful of thee, and at every eve she centered her thoughts upon thee. Like unto a singing nightingale, she chanted thy sacred verses, and like unto a mirror, she sought to reflect thy light. O thou forgiver of sins, open thou the way for this awakened soul to enter thy kingdom, and enable this bird, trained by thy hand, to soar in the eternal rose garden. She is afire with longing to draw nigh unto thee. Enable her to attain thy presence. She is distraught and distressed in separation from thee. Cause her to be admitted into thy heavenly mansion. O Lord, we are sinners, but thou art the forgiver. We are submerged in the ocean of shortcomings, but thou art the pardoner, the kind. Forgive our sins and bless us with thine abundant grace. Grant us the privilege of beholding thy countenance, and give us the chalice of joy and bliss. We are captives of our own transgressions, and thou art the King of bountiful favors. We are drowned in a sea of iniquities, and thou art the Lord of infinite mercy. Thou art the giver, the glorious, the eternal, the bounteous, and thou art the all gracious, the all merciful, the omnipotent. He who is the bestower of gifts and the forgiver of sins. Verily, thou art he to whom we turn for the remission of our failings. He who is the Lord of hosts.